Let's transition back to the NFL and let's talk about the situation right now with the Las Vegas Raiders. Y'all know the Jon Gruden resigned on Monday night. I believe the Colts and the Ravens was playing. Jon Gruden, he used racist and anti-gay language in numerous emails over the course of a decade. This is Jon Gruden's quote on resigning as head coach for the Las Vegas Raiders. He said, quote, "I have resigned as head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. I love the Raiders and do not want to be a distraction. Thank you to all the players, coaches, staff, and fans of Raider Nation. I'm sorry, I never meant to hurt anyone." That was Jon Gruden's comments after he resigned as head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. So when it comes to this situation with Jon Gruden and the Las Vegas Raiders, first things first, I want to be very, very clear, and I want everyone to know how I feel about this situation. And I feel very comfortable in saying Jon Gruden's career is over. His career is over. America is a land of second chances. It's a land of second chance. We see people all the time, make mistakes. They pay their debt to society, and they come back and they make amends for the mistakes that they made. They actually end up having, testimonies, to be able to talk about the transgressions that they had in the past and how they were able to overcome them and get a second chance at being successful in life. But I can't imagine a scenario where Jon Gruden can overcome this. I can't imagine a scenario with someone who had the power that he even had to overcome a situation like this. We always talk about, and I'm gonna go here. In America, there are certain individuals, in America, there are certain individuals, especially white individuals, who have certain advantages over African Americans or other minorities in other communities. We see it all the time. I don't even think Jon Gruden, a coach who had so much power in the NFL and, basically was a head coach in the NFL for multiple years, I don't even think a white coach in the NFL can overcome those emails and get another job again. I just don't see it being able to happen. I don't. I really, really don't. Having all the connections that he has, having the power that he has, and having so many people in the NFL who he knows, I don't believe he's going to get another opportunity to be another NFL coach at the NFL level. Okay. He made racial comments on DeMar Smith, the executive director of the Players Association. He was against the NFL bringing in Michael Sam at the time and said that the commissioner shouldn't advocate to then Rams coach Jeff Fisher to bring in Michael Sam. He called Roger Goodell the P word and also the vice president of the United States the P word. He was against women being officials in the NFL. He also said Eric Reed should have been fired and not allowed back into the NFL. The man insulted blacks. He insulted women. He insulted folks from the gay community. I mean, you name it. He offended multiple people in multiple communities. So I don't believe he's going to get another opportunity to coach in the NFL again. I don't see how he can recover from this. I really, really don't. I mean, these were emails spanning from 2011 to 2018. And so the NFL, what was happening was the NFL, they were doing an investigation on the Washington football team. And so Jon Gruden, he sent these emails from his personal account to Bruce Allen, who was the general manager of the Washington football team at the time. He sent these emails to Bruce Allen's email account, but Bruce Allen was emailing Jon Gruden back and forth from the Washington football team's account. And that's how the NFL was able to see these emails. So Jon Gruden was emailing from his own personal account, and he didn't think that these emails would get leaked, but they did. And so the other big thing in this situation for me is why did Jon Gruden feel comfortable enough with Bruce Allen to email him these disrespectful things at all? Why did he feel comfortable enough to even email Bruce Allen these things? That just tells me that they've been having conversations about these type of things behind closed doors that we just didn't know about. If you feel comfortable enough to email someone something that's racial or offensive to the gay community or offensive to women being officials in the NFL, that means Bruce Allen gave him the indication that he was okay with Jon Gruden having these type of thoughts. So Bruce Allen right now, he's not currently in the NFL, and good luck getting a job, Bruce Allen. Good luck getting a job, because it looks bad on you that Jon Gruden got exposed in these emails. Why did he feel comfortable enough with you, Bruce, to even send these type of emails? Because if I had a friend that had a racist bone in his body, the first thing I'm going to say is, why you texting me this? Like, I'm going to let it be known that, oh, this is how you feel? We ain't cool. We can't be cool. So the fact that Jon Gruden felt comfortable enough to send these emails to Bruce Allen tells you everything you need to know about Bruce Allen as well. And then at his press conference, Jon Gruden had the nerve, the audacity to say he didn't want to talk about it anymore. No, Jon. You don't get to determine when everyone should stop talking about this. You gave that up once you sent those emails. It's awfully funny how the individual who offended multiple people in multiple communities, he is the one that gets to determine when we have to stop talking about it. You don't get to determine that, Jon. You don't. You offended so many people that you have to talk about this. And what's so crazy is, because of Jon Gruden sending these emails, now his family has to answer questions about Jon Gruden and how they feel about the emails that got leaked out. Jon Gruden's son, he is a trainer. Jay Gruden, he's a former NFL head coach. So now people are going to question Jay Gruden and Jon Gruden's son, and they're going to ask, hey, what's up? What's going on here? Because guess what, ladies and gentlemen, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. It don't fall far from the tree. So, like, Jon Gruden, not only did he expose himself and show us his true colors, now individuals in his family, they have to answer for how they feel about Jon Gruden and what he said in those emails, and how they feel overall about all of these people in these communities that Jon Gruden offended. Now, let me get to Mark Davis, the Raiders owner. This was Mark Davis' comments on Jon Gruden's resignation as head coach. Mark Davis, quote, "I have no comment. Ask the NFL. They have all the answers." That was Mark Davis' comments on the situation on right now involving Jon Gruden's resignation as head coach. And so, what kind of response was that? Basically, Mark Davis admitted he didn't want to get rid of Jon Gruden. He pretty much admitted that after reading all of those emails that went from 2011 to 2018 and offending all of the people that he offended, if it were up to Mark Davis, Jon Gruden would still be the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. For him to say, "I have no comment, ask the NFL," are you kidding me, Mark? Seriously? You got Black players on your team. You got an openly gay player on your team, the first openly gay player in the NFL, and Carl Massa on your team, who's having a great season, by the way. You got all of these different people on your team who Jon Gruden offended, and you're going to say, ask the NFL, they have all the answers? This was an opportunity for Mark Davis to show leadership and let it be known these type of things that were said by Jon Gruden in these emails cannot be tolerated. And it didn't matter what the NFL was going to do. I was going to fire Jon Gruden anyway. But that's not what Mark Davis said. Mark Davis pretty much told on himself and admitted that if the NFL didn't force him to, fire Jon Gruden, that he would have allowed Jon Gruden to walk back into that Raiders facility and coached this team. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And so it just tells you where we are right now in the NFL, because when you have no, Black owners in the NFL, you have very, very limited Black leaders as far as management positions in the NFL. It shows you the kind of culture that's in the NFL right now and why Jon Gruden felt like he could get away with saying these type of things. The culture in the NFL, there is no Black owners, and there's very limited Black leaders in management positions. So given the fact that the culture has been what it's been, that's why you saw Jon Gruden, feel comfortable saying the derogatory things that he said towards these multiple communities. That's why. That's why. It's because of the culture of the NFL. Nothing more, nothing less. If you have Black individuals in places of leadership, like being an owner, like being a general manager, then you won't have Jon Gruden putting out these type of emails. But it just shows you the kind of culture that's in the NFL and how certain individuals, when they have power and they are, the head coach or general manager of a particular football team, they feel like they can get away with these type of things. If the culture was different like the NBA, you wouldn't be able to get away with these type of remarks, and we don't find out until 10 years later. It wouldn't happen. It would happen. In the NBA, there are Black owners in the NBA. There are Black leaders in management positions. So you wouldn't be able to get away with what Jon Gruden was able to get away with for 10 years. These emails started back in 2011, and we just now finding out about them. Thank God the NFL did an investigation on the Washington football team, because if they didn't, we would have never known about these emails. Never known about them. And you know that now that these players know how Jon Gruden really feels about them, he couldn't walk back into that locker room and have the respect from his players like he did before. It's a shame, and it is stunning how the Las Vegas Raiders, who started out 3-0 on the season, by the way, now they have to deal with this for the rest of the season. We'll see if they're going to be able to overcome it. But, it's crazy the fact that they started the season out 3-0. They had some very, very good quality wins at the start of the season. Remember, they beat the Ravens on Monday Night Football week 1. Then they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers as well, beat the Miami Dolphins 3-0 in the season. They've lost 2 straight. And so, the game against the Chicago Bears, I don't really think they were mentally prepared for that game after all the things that took place the week before with their head coach at the time in Jon Gruden. They had to answer questions about this situation. And so I don't think they were really focused in the game Sunday. They lost 20-9. And so it's going to be interesting to see how they move forward and what happens. New interim head coach, Rich Bisaccia, he's going to take over for the head coaching duties for Jon Gruden. We'll see if he can lead the Raiders the rest of the season. So the last question here is, do you believe the Raiders still have a chance to have a successful season? I guess it depends on what's your definition of successful, because, right now they're 3-2 on the season. Derek Carr, through the first 3 weeks of the season, I thought Derek Carr was leading the NFL MVP race, but right now he has 8 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, completing 64% of his passes. I like Derek Carr. I really, really do. And I want to see who they bring in as head coach next year. Who's going to lead this team now? Like, who's going to be the head coach? Because you got to bring in someone who can connect with Derek Carr. He is the key to the Raiders having success. And I think Derek Carr is a quarterback that you can build your team around and win a Super Bowl with. I really, really do. I believe in Derek Carr. So when you look at their schedule the rest of the way, they got the Broncos tomorrow. Then next week they got Philly at home. I think they can beat Philadelphia. At Giants, I would say the Raiders could beat the Giants. But then they got the Chiefs, Bengals, Cowboys. Those games are going to be tough. Those games are going to be tough against the Chiefs and Bengals at both home games. But they're going to be tough. They could possibly go 0-3 during that stretch. They can lose to the Chiefs, Bengals, and Cowboys. But then you got Washington football team, you go back to Kansas City, at Cleveland, home against the Broncos. Right now they're 3-2. I would say the Raiders probably finish. I'll go 8-9. I don't think they're going to be a playoff team. I think they'll go 8-9. I thought they were heading in the right direction, but now they have this hanging over them the rest of the season. I think it's going to be tough for them to make the playoffs. I really, really do. The LA Chargers, they're leading the division in the AFC West. Denver Broncos, they're much improved. Although they lost 2 straight games, they're still an improved football team. The Chiefs, they 2-3, but we know the Chiefs are going to be in the playoffs. And then you look at the AFC North right now. The Bengals, they are emerging right now as being a true contender in the AFC North. I still think the Baltimore Ravens are the best team, in the AFC North, but the Cleveland Browns are legit too. They're legit as well. So it's going to be tough for the Raiders to make the playoffs, especially as a wild card. It's going to be very, very tough. I think one team is going to get in the playoffs from the South. It's probably going to be Tennessee. So we'll see what happens the rest of the season.